ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It? Podcast. I'm your host, GB. I would like to ask for the listeners and anyone out there on the set, please be quiet. Lights, camera, action. There's a reason why.
There we go.
It would have actually been a bit better if I had the clapboard, which I think is still my parents.
That was actually funny because I was gonna go grab mine and do the whole bit, but it is.
I'll keep this as it is, man. But
that's on me. That's on me for not coming prepared.
Oh man! Today's guest is a director, video editor, and a pro wrestler. Please give it up for JGEORGE. How you doing today, mate? You all good?
Yeah, man. Places, everybody. Places, fantastic.
Awesome, man.
Doing all right. I can't complain. The weather is getting better. I don't know how it's like for you over there across the sea, but it's starting to look up over here.
Pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie. It's cold, windy, grey, and yeah, it's still winter for us, and it's just not. It doesn't look like it's gonna change at the moment. So yeah, I'm warm though. That's the main thing. So I can't complain, and I've got a roof on my head. So happy days.
Of course, yeah. You gotta take the wins where you can.
That's it, my man. That's it. Before we go into your wrestling career, your filmmaking, and you being a director, but after I actually arranged this interview, and I said to you in the DM, I actually caught up with Smackdown. I was actually behind on it, and there was a segment involving Bret, Lesnar, and Roman Reigns with loads of security guards, and one of the security guards ends up getting a chair thrown at him and a suplex for his trouble. Then I realised it was you, so I want to know, how did you land that gig, and how was the experience, mate?
I was just one of those, as they like to say, I was at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to be at a place training wise where at the CreateAPro where they offer a lot of opportunities to their trainees, and it kind of just fell on my lap last minute. I got a call. They were like, hey, do you want to we need some people for Smackdown. It was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. It was like a 3-hour drive, but I wasn't doing anything that Friday night, so I said, hey, why not? And me and a couple guys jumped in a car, and next thing I knew, I was getting thrown around and getting chairs thrown at me by Brock Lesnar.
Man, you literally got the most damage, but at the same time, you got the most exposure. So,
what do you think that was? Was that because I put my hand?
That was.
I'm ready to go, dude.
Did Brock say anything about
that? Not to me afterwards, but I told myself in that situation of like when Roman gives us the go ahead, I'm throwing the dukes up because it's Brock Lesnar, former UFC champion, and I can't go in there like a slouch. I always joked with my friends, it was like my friend he was always like, I'm just gonna try to get in the UFC one day, and I'm just gonna go in there fresh without any training and just throw the hands up. That's how you do it. I'm from New York. That's how we do it.
I mean, it was unsuccessful, but I have to applaud you for your effort. And yeah, I mean, how sore were you after all that?
Yeah, right. The adrenaline was pumping, man. I never thought I'd be in that situation in my life, because I'll be honest with you, when they pick people for those sort of things, I always feel like, or not feel like, but I always have been like either, I can't be. How do I want to say this? I have, as you can see, I have a pretty outstanding look. You know what I mean? I don't blend into the background that well. So I wasn't expecting to be in that situation. And then as you could see, when I was in it, I kind of stood out a little bit. I can't help it.
Man, I was just like, oh shit. He's like, I thought that's why you want me on. I was like, no, I found it out after.
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah. I wasn't sure if maybe that was like a catalyst of like, all right, now's the time to pull the trigger.
Oh my man, we've actually followed each other for a while, and I've been a fan of video editing, and obviously I think I said before recording, I used to do it myself. I don't do it as much unless it's for the podcast now. I actually did videos for Ryback. People are going to boo me for that.
Oh,
I
The
know.
big guy.
It was fine to me. I'm not gonna jump the bandwagon, but there's worse people in wrestling than him. But yeah, so I was interested in your filmmaking, and I want to rewind the clocks. Oh, sorry, mate. I didn't mean to cut you off then. I was just
No,
going
you
to
didn't cut me
say,
off.
I want to rewind the clocks before I talk about the wrestling, before I talk about the editing. I want to know when did you discover wrestling? When did you become a fan?
I was it had to have been like 1994, 1995.
Mhm.
And I was in I was in New York City. We were in an apartment, and my parents were watching something on TV, and I wasn't digging it, right? So I went into their room. They were in the living room, so I went into their room, and I'm just flipping through the channels, and per chance, I saw, I'm pretty sure it was like Sting coming down on Nitro, and I was just like instantly hooked. I was just like, whoa, what is this? You know, I was hooked at that point, but I didn't know how like TV schedules worked at that time. You know what I mean? So I didn't know I had like when and where to watch it, but eventually I caught on during the Attitude Era, and then it was just that was it. You know.
So you kind of hooked quite early on, then, especially during
Oh yeah,
one of the best periods of all time. You know, I've kind of seen to you.
absolutely.
Do
And
you
I
have any
used to
favorites?
have funny. Well, I was just gonna say, funny enough. So like my during that time, I had toys. You know, I had toys, and I had a Vader action figure, and I didn't even know like who who Vader was or anything. I just happened to have it. So I always felt like there's like it was like something that was destined in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
As far as favorites, I mean, I loved everyone. My first favorite was Kane for sure. That was like the first like guy that I was like, this guy's my favorite wrestler. And then after that, I was always I realized like I just loved wrestling so much that it was just always everybody was always like a favorite to some degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I
I get
have a
you.
weird range of people that like I like look up to or study or take after or you know it's a hodgepodge of
Wasn't just specifically just one or two wrestlers. Like I think a lot of people when they're growing up, they just stick to one wrestler when they're growing up, as opposed
right.
to a mix, like variety of wrestlers. I get that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just ignore Glenn Jacobs' tweets, though. I like to separate Kane and Glenn Jacobs. Just had to squeeze that in. No,
Right.
that's cool, man. Kane was awesome back in the day. He was menacing, but just such a unique look.
And
did
the
you?
great
Sorry, mate.
the character of him throughout the years is like one of the best like arcs and stories that they've done with a single character. You know what I mean? Because he was like this big giant dude in a mask that's is Undertaker's brother, but then like all of a sudden they started there's all these layers to him. There's the stuff with his where Paul Bear admits that he's his dad, and then there's like the bits where he starts falling for China, and then Tori, and then he becomes friends with X-Pac, and like it's just it was always good stuff.
Mate, the X-Pac feud, by the way, I think is criminally underrated. I think I tweeted it
Hell
out maybe last year, but like it was literally about a year long, and it just doesn't get enough credit. Like X-Pac, the way they teamed with each
not at
other.
all.
Kane becomes more human, becomes actual friends with him, and even says
Exactly,
his first, I think it's second or third words on TV. Shocker, like, but
yeah. I went nuts when that happened.
Oh man, like, do you remember like it used to be rumored like we looked like Green Kane was like supposed to be.
That was like the first. That was like the first internet rumor, right?
Yeah.
That you like would have heard of like during that time.
Yeah.
That was like the first time you start hearing like those rumors. Oh yeah, there's going to be a Green Kane. Yeah.
Oh, is it going to happen at SummerSlam? Nah. But then he comes out like reverse colors, which looks badass. I mean, I'm massive into costumes, but yeah, man, I might have to go back and watch that match actually. I just love the way Kane and X-Pac would feud against like Big Show and Undertaker, just two big ass motherfuckers back in the day.
Oh yeah.
But I could talk about that sort of wrestling all the time, but we're not here to talk about the Attitude Era. I mean, if you want to ski some talking, we can. But putting the wrestling aside just quickly, with the filmmaking, did you go to filmmaking school by any chance?
I did. Yeah. That was before I was, before I went to wrestling school. I went to filmmaking school, and
nice.
I try to get into wrestling training when I was in community college. Do you know, does that translate over there, or do you guys
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah. We have kind of such specific college as well. I get that.
Yeah. So like I try to start up my wrestling career at that point, but I wasn't there. I wasn't ready yet. I just wasn't in the cards. And for a few years, I kind of forgot about it. And then I just started focusing on my second passion, which was filmmaking. But as I've come to learn, it wasn't a second passion. It was they're all one and the same at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, man, I really do appreciate like your filmmaking and your editing skills. Actually, I will put the details in terms of your YouTube channel where the viewers can, if they haven't seen it already, they can. They'll probably spend all day watching it because it's so entertaining. Even just like promos, like just building up a match and just so creative. And the Dark Side of the Ring stuff's brilliant that you do, the parody stuff.
Thank you, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, and I'm literally, as we speak, I got Photoshop open. I'm working on a graphic for a trailer that I'm editing that's probably gonna drop after we get off the
Nice.
air. I'm gonna put the finishing touches on that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm loving how everything's kind of melded together. But
Just out of curiosity, what do you use to edit? Is it a Premiere Pro or Final Cut?
Yeah, I know how to do Premiere and the Adobe stuff, but I stick with Final Cut. That's where I'm like most comfortable for film stuff, and then I use Photoshop like crazy for everything else, you know. Yeah. Those are probably the main two. Like Illustrator I never really got the hang of, but I could do some stuff on there.
It's difficult, isn't it? I'm not saying like it's unachievable, but I just find Photoshop's a lot easier to use. And just in terms of scaling, cutting, manipulating images, it's just 10 times easier. Where Illustrator is pain in the arse, especially like, I
think Illustrator's more for like if you're making stuff from scratch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I'm more better at, you know, taking stuff and remaking it or manipulating stuff on Photoshop, and that's more my alley.
But I'm so glad you said about Final Cut Pro, by the way. Like Final Cut Pro 10, like when I used to do properly editing, oh my God, I loved it. It's made life so much easier. I tried to do Premiere Pro, but honestly, I just kept going back to Final Cut Pro.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like just uploading, editing, adding filters, and literally like moving images in within the video.
Yeah, it's a solid interface, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's awesome, my man. Back to the wrestling. I want to ask, when is it that you decided that you wanted to be like basically train to be a wrestler and to become pro wrestler? Because I know you didn't train first at CreateAPro Wrestling, did you?
No. I knew that from like early age. Once I was like hooked and watching every week, that was it. I already knew. I would have I literally just I would have dreams about it, and I would daydream about it, and it's all I could think about. So, but I knew that was going to be my path, and then it was always kind of an uphill battle because like when I wanted to put that in my yearbook, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Wrestler. And my dad saw that and he was like, no, he put something else. And I was like, I don't know what else to put. And then like he made me put like economist or something like that. And I was about to hand it in, and I was like, yeah, let me just write wrestler underneath it. I gotta keep it. So thankfully I did that. I did not become an economist. Far from it. Maybe whatever the opposite of an economist is, I did that.
Did he see the change, by the way?
And then what's that?
Did he see the change, by the way, when you put it back to wrestler?
He did. Yeah, he's like, of course. And then, so like I said, I did try when I was in community college. It didn't work. So I go to film school and I'm doing all that. And I remember, it was not my last year. It was my second to last year, right? We're doing it's the final day of class, and they screen everyone's films that we worked on for the semester. So we're doing all that. We're at the screening. I get a text, I get a call from my job at the time. They fired me, right? And I was like, awesome. I'm going to collect unemployment, and I'm going to use the unemployment money to go to wrestling school. And that's nice. And then that's what I did. Yeah.
Anyone was so happy to be fired.
And it's weird how, so before that, right? That year is like 2012. New Japan is running in the States, and this was like right before they really blew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they're running in the States, and I got tickets for one of the shows, and it was like, so like to give you a frame of reference, Okada was still wearing, like, he still had black hair and he still had the big pajama pants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember walking through the door, and Tanahashi was there with a collection like box for the they were doing an earthquake relief. And I didn't like even think anything of it. I just walked past one of the greatest wrestlers in the world and handed him $1. And it didn't dawn on me until years later. I'm like, fuck, that was fucking Tanahashi. I was just like,
there you go, Matt.
yeah, dude, unreal. But I, at that show, there was like a nerdy kid next to me, right? Two nerdy kids. And they start talking to me. And then, you know, we become Facebook friends, right? 6 months later, I see that kid that was sitting next to me. He's in a wrestling ring at a show. And I'm like, whoa, how did this happen? He tells me about it. So I reach out to that school at the time. And I funny enough, I was still unsure that I was like, I could be a wrestler. So I was like, hey, can I come in and help and do film stuff for you guys? Could I just graduated film school. I could shoot promos for you guys, whatever. And the guy was like, I told him how tall I was. I was like, yeah, I'm 6 foot, you know, and I weigh this much. He's like, why don't you just train to be a wrestler? And then, so then I did it. And then that's kind of how that started, that little journey.
Nice, man. Nice. When did you actually join CreateAPro Wrestling?
So, see, this is all, it's all crazy story. So 2019, right? I'm really getting this, like, I'm starting to see all these people that were around me really start to become successful, you know? Mm-hmm. Like peers that you know, people that you were just wrestling with are starting to really pick up some steam, right? And I'm really like, at that point, like, I really gotta do something big here. I gotta get to the next level. So I got an offer to go, not an offer, but I got sent a post saying that, oh yeah, you could go train at WXW in Germany, and you know, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah,
you know, you should go do it. And I did it. So I went out. I got to train there for a couple months, and
wow,
it was a great experience. Yeah, awesome experience.
It's awesome, man.
You know, it was Walter was still there. Tim Thatcher was there.
Yeah,
I lived in a dojo right above the school. All you do was you wake up, you work out, you go wrestle, you come back to the apartment, you watch wrestling, and you're in an apartment with a bunch of people from all over the world that come to train. You know what I mean? So I did that, and that led me, when I came back, that led me to have an opportunity to go wrestle in China.
Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
What's going on in the world? It's the Rev Ron Hunt, and I will be the next guest on What You Call It podcast right here. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, I heard.
There's this company in China, OWE, and they were just starting up at the time, and they wanted to bring in American guys. So I just sent them an email, sent them my promo picture, and perchance, they were just like, they didn't say anything, right? Here's the lesson in life I've learned. Closed mouths don't get fed. So I emailed them again, and I said, hey, I just want to remind you, I'm still interested in coming out there, blah, blah, blah. And they said, hey, we'd love to have you. And the way the company was set up, it was like, I forget what the term of it is now, but it was like a Chinese government funded thing. You know what I mean? So they flew me out. They put me in an apartment. Granted, I was in there with like 6 people, but I got to do that. I got to wrestle.
Were you the only American there?
Funny enough, I get there. There's my dog. So I get there, and there's a guy that I knew from New York that I had wrestled years ago. His name is Buffa, and he had been out in China for years. But yeah, it was just weird how you find people. You know, I had met him years ago in New York, and then next thing you know, we're sleeping in the same room, boarded up in China. You know, and it was a great experience. unfortunately for me, I got the wrong visa. There was a mix-up in the paperwork, right?
Yeah.
So I got like, they send me out of Hong Kong so I can come back to China to get a stamp on my passport. That way I could stay there longer. I was supposed to be there indefinitely. Well, when I went to the airport, I stayed there for 8 hours, and then I went to fly back to Shanghai. They're like, you can't come back to the country. Your visa's expired. And I was like stranded for like a couple days in Hong Kong. I'm like, that was a whole wild experience. I was allowed to go back to China to get my money and get my luggage and the rest of my stuff.
Yeah.
And I was able to stay there for 3 days and fly back to the US. And that was the end of that. You know what I mean? So I come back, and by that point, everyone I kind of had nowhere to go in terms of like, I didn't have a school anymore that I was training at. I burnt some bridges because of my my erratic behavior, especially during that time. And just because like I was going through a lot and dealing with like, I just went from like, I essentially set out what I wanted to achieve with my wrestling career. I got to do that. I was getting paid a full-time living, and I was set, you know what I mean? And then I come back, and it was just like back to nothing, you know what I mean? And I had to kind of start all over. And thankfully I had a lot of friends and acquaintances at CreateAPro that I'd met throughout the years. And I was like, this is kind of a good place to go, because people that go there tend to come out of it either better, or they get to, well, you see a lot of the people that graduate from there.
Like MJF, Chris Statlander, Max Caster,
Max Caster.
Yeah, I mean, like you actually did a recent video with him last month. You did the direction and the editing, and it's a really good video, quite powerful as well. I mean, with him, and you've wrestled him as well, and training with him. I mean, how is he inside the ring and sort of outside the ring as well?
I only wrestled him once, and it was very brief. He beat me with a shoulder tackle.
Oh, was that was it figure? Oh, was it? I forgot, FWF thing. Yeah.
That was no, but we ended up having like a weird New Year's tradition where everybody goes out and parties, or they go do this and that, and then me and him go at CreateAPro, and we just train until near midnight, And we did that for a couple years, this past couple years. But I got to say this about Max, and I'll never say this to his face, but he's a good man.
Yeah.
And I owe a lot to him. The guy, like he saved me in a lot of ways, and he kind of, if it weren't for him, I don't know if I'd be this version of myself now, in terms of wrestling and even as a person. So, I mean, I can't say enough how much like he means to me as a friend, and just as someone that's been alongside me in my career. You know what I mean? Because we've been through it, bro. Like, 4 or 5 years ago, we were doing tryouts with people, and nobody wanted to give us a shot. Nobody wanted to mess with us. You know what I mean? And we would talk ad nauseum of what do we have to do? What could we do? And hey, is this a good idea? How do we go about doing this? You know what I mean? For our own trajectory. And he was a crucial part of why I went to CreateAPro, and why I was able to like get to this point in my career. Yeah.
No, I respect that, man. I mean, the music video that you did do for him, I mean, your editing is top notch, man. I really, really like it. Even just like the Photoshop with like the Chronic parody, and just like, I can't remember that film's called. I need to watch it again. It's been a while. I mean, it's only like a few weeks, but like just certain parts of it I really remember. But it seems quite powerful with the lyrics as well, matching with the content, with how you've edited it. Have you done other videos as well?
I've done for him. I kind of helped direct his Sting and Darby Allin one that we did. That was alongside GoPro Wrestling, which is a great wrestling production company. They do a lot of the stuff on the East Coast. They do a lot of stuff for GCW, and any stuff that's streaming. A lot of times they're the ones that are there putting it together, and they've been really good to work with. But a lot of stuff before that, I was just kind of doing it on my own, for my own, you know what I mean? But I started doing stuff for the Major Pod from Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, and I would film their live vlogs and their toy drives and some other stuff.
Was
like
that you behind the scenes? So you're oh wow, I didn't know.
I've done a few. There's a couple, not all of them, because
Oh,
sometimes.
okay.
Yeah. So I don't want to take credit for someone else's work. You know what I mean? But because sometimes they'll do a show in Vegas or something. I'm not out there for those.
Yeah. But you have
I've done a couple
of videos.
Yeah. I did like the Comic-Con one is probably an easy one to find that I shot. That was a fun one. Yeah, that was really fun. Yeah.
Is that when the fan gets him the coffee and he comes back and then gives him like free merch?
Right, pretty much, yeah.
Next time I go to Comic-Con, I'm just going to do it for every celebrity now.
Exactly. There you go.
I'm not one of the fan, by the way. Fair play. I mean, I don't think he actually expected that, but
yeah. No, man, that's been awesome. And I also now I host a podcast
Rewind
as well. The Rewind, which just dropped today on Tuesdays. Every other Tuesday it drops, and it's basically. If you heard about their show, like their Major Pod podcast, if you've heard about it, they have like, now it's been out for 4 years, but there's like so many great stories and inside jokes that they've done throughout the years. So that's where I come in and I kind of put together a little best show, you know what I mean? A compilation.
New Jack's figure, like the noose, like the
no noose New Jack.
Yeah. They kind of got me back into it, like in terms of figures a little bit.
They call it the most expensive free podcast.
Oh, that is so true. I just like I think like also the Michael Jordan figure collecting. How is Brian Myers, by the way, as a coach and as a person? I mean, he's the one that started up CreateAPro.
There you go.
Nice.
There they are.
What ones are those ones? Are they the new ones? I haven't seen those ones.
Yeah, this is their Major Bendies. They put these out themselves, which is like really cool. And they also got where is he? There's a Hornswoggle here somewhere, but he's tiny. There's a Smart Mark Sterling there. There you go.
See, that was pretty cool.
So these were, I don't know if you remember these. This is like the original WWF.
Yeah, they were terrible. I always wanted the 1-2-3 kid though. I always wanted that one.
Yeah.
Never find it. And I think it was Mabel as well. Just never could find them.
Dude, yeah, now they go for hundreds of dollars. It's crazy.
Oh, mate, Hasbro's. I think they can enjoy this, but because of the podcast and because of their figure collecting, the prices, especially Hasbro's.
Oh yeah. Oh, skyrocketed.
Yeah. I've got a shout out to my mate Stevie. He's massively into the Ryder brothers. I'm always going to call him that, but obviously Hawkins and Cardona. But because he got into it during the show, him collecting Hasbro's, he's like, I love him, but I can't forgive him for put the prices up now. he completed it.
It must be even tougher for you guys in the UK too, right? Because
it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Especially like the loose ones as well, because I think with the 3D printers and stuff now, it's a lot easier to fake stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the accessories, it's like a whole crazy thing with them. Like you gotta certain guys' glasses, you gotta find.
Yeah,
they have
take
to
his
be
cape.
Like, yeah. But Brian Myers as a coach is he's a great coach. I mean, it's like I can't say, the proof is in the pudding, and it's not even on my end. It's more so on the people that he's put out that are doing the big stuff. You know what I mean?
As a coach, do you feel like you can easily go to him? I mean, even if you're not there at CAP, can you still engage with him in terms of a conversation? Or can you look at this match that I had outside of that, CAP?
I just feel weird in general doing that with people. It's like, I don't know. So it's like, do you want to sit down and watch this thing? And I always felt weird. Like some people are willing to put themselves out there like that. What the cool thing, what he does though, is if we have a show at CreateAPro, usually within the next couple weeks at class, we'll watch the show back and then we'll go through the matches with everyone,
That's pretty cool, especially as a class as well. You can all sort of see each other's strong points and things that you can improve on as well.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
No, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm still sticking with the wrestling, but I want to also talk about how you've blended in the filmmaking and being a director in wrestling. And I think it's a really good gimmick. I mean, I think it actually is a gimmick, if I'm being honest.
That's right. That's what I like to say. It's not a gimmick.
It is who you are. I mean, some of the videos you do, man. I think you won an award, and the way you edit it, like it's the Oscars.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks in one. It's fucking brilliant. This is why I need the fans to direct it. I'm going to direct them to your YouTube channel after this. But
yeah, and there's a playlist I think I put together with those promos that like you can kind of see the development. That promo, that was like the first one of when this ball started rolling. You know what I mean? And this was still during the pandemic too. So like we were still doing tapings. I hadn't even done this in front of a crowd yet, and that was like a big thing. So we were doing tapings, and originally I was gonna be an action star. That was gonna be like the thing. It was like that was Max's idea. He was like, "You're gonna be like an action star, right?" So I was like, "All right." I kind of had shifted it that way. I was like, maybe something like that, right? And we're doing the taping, and then I was trying to do like a thing where I would do a one-liner before the bell rings, right?
Yeah.
I would say like a stupid line, right? I was like you know how in NCIS where the guy he says something like he puts his glasses on.
Yeah.
It's like he's like, looks like this guy just got fired, right? Like that. So I was trying to do that. Oof. I was trying to do that, and the announcers kept talking over me, and I was like, the next time they do that, I'm just gonna do like a Christian Bale thing, and I'm just gonna like flip out on them. And
what a terminate salvation, yeah.
yeah. I was like, I'm gonna do something like that because I already know they're gonna talk over me.
Yeah.
So I start doing it, and I thought I was gonna get in trouble for it because it was not something that I planned or told anyone I was going to do. And afterwards, Max comes up to me. He's like, "That was really good. You should keep going with this." And immediately right after that, I had to cut a promo. So I just immediately started breaking the fourth wall. And then it just kind of, boom, it just like grew and grew and grew. And like I said, this was still during the pandemic. And I was like, all right, I got to do something when the live shows come back, when I'm in front of a crowd. What's the entrance going to be like, right? And I was like, I know what the entrance is going to be. I'm going to come out before my entrance, and I'm going to set it up, and I'm going to come out, places everybody. I'm about to make my entrance. When I come out, I want everyone to give me a big pop, big pop. All right, you guys are all extras, or you're all part of my movie, so give us some pep, right? Because the louder you are, the better I do. And then I'd come back to the curtain. I'd say, play my music, and they play the music, and then I'd come back out, So I started really, and then from there, it got to a point where
proper blossoming it is.
Yeah, I
think it's solid. I mean, I'm not a director or anything like that, but I'm a video editor. And just little things like when you're in the ring, like you'll talk to the camera guy at the same time. I know, get that in focus, and just little things, like little details I really like.
Right, because the thing of it is too, dude, is like I'm not the first person to like do a movie-based character. I'm not the first person to come out with the board, right? You remember the Hollywood Blondes and
even Goldust. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's been, and then there's people that do it on the independents now, but my thing was I'm doing it different. Like no one's ever done it before because of the fact that instead of a promo, I'm making a movie trailer. You know?
Yeah, I was going to come to that. The trailers are brilliant.
Yeah, because that's what I knew early on. That's what it had to be. Like I'm not going to sit here and be like, everybody does a promo now. Like this Sunday at this the Ridgefield Hall, Newbridge Museum,
or a tweet or something. Yeah,
right, guys. Some guys just type the tweet. They type a thing out. So I was like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do movie trailers, right? I'm also going to make movie posters for each match. It's going to be. And and then if there was, I just like take movie posters and then try to, which ended up making me a better designer because I was trying to like replicate all these like.
But it'd actually be inspiration, wouldn't it? Like,
right, exactly. And then so I did the trailers, I did the posters, and then the next step that I would do, I would type like a 1-page script of what I saw, my vision for the match, and it would be like something ridiculous like. I'm going to beat this guy to a pulp and the ring is going to be covered in blood and I'm going to stand up trembling and I'm going to hold a giant chunk of his hair up. Like, stuff that you can't possibly actually do. Right.
Yeah.
and I would post and I would do that, instead of just tweeting about it. So that's when I realized, like, okay, yeah,
you've
no,
got something here.
I got something here, and I know for sure that it's different because nobody's going to be able to.
No.
Nobody's going to be able to.
It's
do
like
it
each match is going to be different. Like your opponent, there's always a theme to them. You can, you know,
exactly.
a trailer, you can make it into 1,000 ways, and just the fact that you do this for each match. And
Right.
I mean, it's a gimmick that I think it's got a hint of a comedic element to it, but also I've seen you be serious when you need to be serious.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's basically, I feel like it's you just really amped up.
Yeah, that was my biggest hurdle, man, for years of doing this was trying to find like I thought I could just go out be myself, and I didn't know who myself was as a wrestler, and then that was like the tricky part because I have so many different, you know, ranges and different. I'm super erratic when it comes to like wrestling, especially. I will go hard, just as hard for a Kenta Kobashi Misawa match as I would for a Miz promo. You know what I mean? Like I like them both.
I like that.
Yeah, like people are like, if I could tell you what my wrestling style was, it's like a mix of Jeff Hardy and Kane, or a mix of Bruiser Brody and Bret Hart. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You don't have a specific style. Like it's a variety of everything. You know, I think, as I said, there's a hint of comedic, but you can also, like, you know, you can wrestle as well.
Right. And now I'm realizing that, like, now I'm really finding myself as a wrestler now that I don't have to worry about defining myself when I walk through the curtain, because that's a huge part of it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, people real recognizes real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know what I'm doing is real. I'm not putting on a character, and people can see that, and they get with it.
Oh, 100%, mate. I think that's what I said earlier. Like, I think this is basically you amped up. You know, it may be a gimmick, but I do feel like this is you as well. You know, and that's quite rare in wrestling these days. I think some people they switch off too easy on Twitter, social media. Oh, you see me in the ring, but then I'll go into that, and it kind of takes you away sometimes. But no, it's awesome. I mean, besides Cap TV, and you just mentioned going in China, OWE. I just want to know what have been some of your sort of your stand-up promotions that you have wrestled in. I know you've done CZW as well.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I did do CZW, which was kind of that is what led me to go to Germany and China, because I was trying to get into there during 2018, 2019, because I saw them at that time. They still had some juice where it was a good platform to kind of get to the next level, you know?
Yeah.
Or at least wrestle guys that are at a level above you, that was always my thing. I just want to wrestle people that are like above me so that I could get there. You know what I mean? And it's hard for as a wrestler to climb if you're wrestling the same people, or you're wrestling people that are, you know, that aren't there, you know? But no, yeah, CZW was like, to be able to have at least a match or two on there. That was, I guess that was something. I don't know if that means anything or not.
No, okay. It's just the fact he was there. No, I get that.
Sure, I guess, right. I wrestle for this company, Pro Wrestling Magic, right now. That's been great to me, and there's a lot of full circle stuff with that promotion, and they kind of gave me a big opportunity to really just be myself and really experiment with this. You know what I mean? Over the past couple of years. But I'm trying to think of a big. I got to like train in CMLL in Mexico, in Arena, Mexico. I didn't wrestle there, but
that's pretty cool.
I got to like, and it was crazy how I did it. It was just, I perchance went out to Mexico. I was supposed to train with somebody else, but when I got them, they never got in contact with me. So I went on CMLL's website, and they were just like, "Hey, if you pay us $50 and you get a physical, you can train here." And this is like one of the biggest promotions in the world. You know what I mean? And I got to train in one of the oldest arenas in the world, which that'll always be like, hey, yeah,
that's
that was
cool.
I did that. Yeah.
Just by luck as well.
Yeah, man. And funny enough, this just got announced now, and this is actually what I'm working on the trailer for. And the tweet just went out now. I'm going to be debuting for Wrestling Open which is Beyond Wrestling's weekly promotion that they do every Thursday.
Oh,
And
nice.
it streams on IWTV, and they have a huge audience. And I tried out there like 4 years ago, 2018, October 2018. And when you see this trailer,
I was just about to say, like, when is the trailer coming out for? I know you
it's gonna I'm just literally putting together the title card that's gonna blast at the end, and it's gonna it's gonna be good. This is gonna be one for the Bucks.
Yeah. No, that's sweet, man. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm gonna ask some wrestling mixed films questions. What's your favorite film that's based on wrestling?
Probably would probably be The Wrestler, I think.
That'd be my answer, to be honest. But
yeah, are you ready for this? I'm actually in it for like a little tiny second because I was at one of the shows where they filmed. It's the last scene where Randy the Ram's giving his big speech at the ROH show.
Oh right, yeah, against Ernest Cat Miller. I forgot his actual character's name. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a moment where I was in there. I always thought that was a fun little thing that ties me into the whole wrestling filmmaking thing because I always liked Darren Aronofsky's films.
Yeah, so. he's a good director. That's a bit cool. So, have you actually got a snippet of it when you can see yourself on it?
I do. Yeah, it's like a little freeze frame, and it's like you gotta zoom and enhance it kind of bit. And I was also,
man, you need to send that to me, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, that was always like real cool to have a little piece of that, you know.
Oh, that's sick, man. I didn't actually get that answer from this question. I think I'm getting some good information, and I think I like these questions to be different. I haven't really asked someone what I've asked today to anyone else. Right. But no, that's pretty sick, man. I mean, I've done a film that came out last year in the cinema, but you see me in it for like 2 seconds, and I'm trying to be a hooligan, and all you see is me doing this.
Right, for those, it's still fun to be able to like you look at it, you pause it, and it's like, here I am.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
What's your favorite wrestling film?
I say The Wrestler, but I have a massive soft spot for it. Ready to Rumble.
Of course, yeah.
I've rewatched that all the time when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I rewatched that one recently.
I mean, yeah, it's not great, but I don't give a shit. It was doing peak wrestling. It's fun. I mean, like the cameos in it, and just like, Sting's great. I love it.
I always like pointing out the John Cena cameo in it.
Yeah, in the gym.
Yeah,
Jimmy the King.
Yeah. Jimmy the King.
I don't know why.
Just like the idea that this guy is like this big like wrestling star during like the height of wrestling's popularity. Is Jimmy the King.
You got John Cena behind him.
Yeah. If you like just like think, and I'm trying to think of like what other actor could have been in that role, but like, yeah, that's funny.
They've got like Arnold maybe, but I think he was finished at that point, wasn't he? I think like
he was just about to get ready. Yeah,
it's a quality film, man. If anyone is listening to this, you haven't seen Race Rumble, but you love films, you love wrestling, and you just love cheesiness and bad acting, just watch it. And please hit me up what you thought of it. If you dislike it, then just don't tweet me.
Yeah, you don't want that negativity in your life.
No, it's poison, toxic. It's toxic anyway. But no, that's awesome, man. I mean, I think The Wrestler is the number one answer. Fantastic film. Saw it cinema twice, and the fact that he didn't win an Oscar for it just sums up the Oscars, really. But although Sean Penn was really good Milk, but
I was going to say that was a tough year.
It was, yeah. I think Mickey Rourke was winning most awards, but I think because he did the segment and storyline with Jericho, that's allegedly was what put the Oscars off from giving them the awards. I don't know how true that is. I don't know. I think that's probably bollocks.
I know that's why he pulled off. I know that's why he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what cost him. I think it was.
It's probably going back to Green Cane.
Yeah, Green Cane. When all else fails, you blame Green Cane.
I might put it as a thumbnail, Green Cane. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Just a few more questions, and then I'll let you go. And then obviously you got a big tweet to put out as well. I think this will probably come out probably either tomorrow or Wednesday, the full interview. But you can have 3 guests for a dream dinner party. You're the host. It can be wrestling related. It can be film related. It can be whatever you want. Past, present, dead or alive, historical, whatever. 3 guests. You're going to be picking their brain. Who'd you pick?
Orson Welles.
Nice. Not that one.
Vince McMahon.
Oh God.
And
God damn it, Austin.
I think maybe probably Larry David. Yeah, maybe yeah. I think that would be it.
Larry David, Orson Welles, and Vince McMahon. That's why I love that question, because every answer is completely it's different. It's never going to be the same. Orson Welles. Now I've had to go back a little bit. Growing up, oblivious. Although he did do Transformers voice. He did
Optimus. That was his last appearance.
What's the name? Unicorn. That was
Unicorn,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, it does that voice. Mental, isn't it? Orson Welles, one of the greatest actors and directors of all time, does that. But yeah,
his story is crazy because he was doing a lot of stuff that was like you would be like, what's this guy? Why is he doing this? Like so there's a famous clip out there that it's called Frozen Peas, and he's like trying to do this a series of radio commercials, and he's like he's just like being so like he's not having it. He's really giving it to the
bookmarking that now. Frozen.
Oh yeah, that's a fun
one. I've got terrible memory. I know I'll edit it, but I'll still forget. Cool. Continue.
There's like a wine commercial he does where he's like pissed drunk, and he was like towards his later years, it was kind of a crazy downfall, but he was a genius though. If you ever watch his interviews where he's just talking about his process, or he's just talking about in general, like he's talking about how like something that I think still applies today. He's like, the audiences are dying because nobody's cultivating them anymore, and nobody's, no one's really like, he's talking about this, how performers are just being kind of mechanical, and they're not being raw, and they're not they're not seducing the audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's deep stuff, but it's good stuff.
No, man, I've got it ready to watch it whilst I'm editing this. I'm definitely going to be watching that. I always like random. If anyone recommends it, I do watch it. Even if people send me like matches, I will watch it. Just it doesn't help that really.
He was like the audience is he's like the audience is an animal, and it must be tamed. It must be seduced.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nah, he's cool, man. I mean, he's not necessarily like my favorite of all time, but I don't know, probably Hitchcock's up there. I have to say that. Right. Kubrick's up there. I actually went to a Kubrick museum in London not too long ago. Brilliant. Sitting like Clockwork Orange stuff and Full Metal Jacket and so. Oh, it was so cool. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but
no, I mean I would love to see that. Yeah, I think that sounds really cool.
Nah, sweet, man, sweet. What is next for J George? What have you got plans, editing wise and wrestling wise? I think you've just announced with the Mexico return, but is there anything else you've got lined up?
What have I got next? As they like to say, I always like to say, stay tuned, but like there's always something. And then if there's one thing I learned from Matt Cardona is like you put out your best stuff, and then and then you just focus on what's next, and it's always what's next. And that's what I'm always asking myself is what's next, because a lot of great stuff has been happening these past couple of weeks and this past couple months, this past year, these past couple of years. It's been one thing after another, and that's how I like to do it. So if where I'm at now, if you're wondering what's next, it's like just imagine what the next step is and something bigger, because I got a lot of things in mind, and I really want to I've been at this not enough. How do I say this? I've been, you know what I mean? I've been at this, and I've always been hungry, and I'm just as hungry as I am now, and I'm ready. I'm really ready to show people what I'm really all about, and that's making movies.
I like it, man. I think that's one thing. That's what I like about your style. not going to say gimmick, about you as a wrestler, as a talent, because I can kind of relate as well with the video editing and being a wrestling fan, not a wrestler. That's why I sit here and talk to wrestlers. But if you do get bored, a lot of my old stuff, my video stuff, is actually on my YouTube. Cheap plug. I've never actually plugged my YouTube before. If you change the date, you know, when you go on YouTube, and like newest, popular, change it to oldest, and you'll get to see some of my a lot of my video stuff. WrestleCrate, I used to do videos for them as well. But yeah, I thought I'd squeeze that in. But if someone wants to keep up to date with you and they want to know what you got lined up, they want to see the next trailer, where can they find you on social media?
Twitter at JGeorge the movie. That's JGEORGE. A lot of people, the JGeorge thing is confusing for them. They like to put a hyphen, or sometimes they like to put a space, but it's JG JGeorge.
I didn't know people got confused by that.
Well, sometimes
that's fair.
It happens. Yeah, so that's JGeorge the movie on Twitter, and on Instagram I'm at jgeorge.mp4, and I don't even know how to get to my YouTube. It's weird because that's the other issue I have. If you type my name on YouTube, it'll correct it to George because it thinks it's a typo, which I don't like that. I don't agree.
It's annoying. Once you got your Twitter, you can see your stuff. But if you do search it, it'll come up with like if you put J George Wrestler, it'll correct it to Gorgeous George.
Yeah, there you go. Even tougher. I'll tell you what. In 2019, I was so lost. I call it between 2018 to 2020.
Yeah.
Right. That's I call that the lost years because I was just like off the map. And I almost did like a Gorgeous George character. That was one of my I experimented with. I tried to do a modern day Gorgeous George character.
Yeah.
Did not obviously end up that way though. Thankfully, well, not thankfully. I don't know. Maybe it would have been okay, but this is I like this.
You never know. I mean, I think with what you've got going at the moment, it's working.
The way I look at it is, I'm not doing anything different than what nobody else is doing. You know why? Because everyone in 2022 is their own sort of director. What I like to think that I am is a mirror of what this business has now become and what it could be. And maybe what it should be. I don't know. But like I said, at the end, it's all at the end of the day, it all comes back to it's all about just making movies.
That's it, man. And to quote your one of your mentors, one of your bosses, you're always ready, as
always
Matt
ready,
Cardona says.
Yep.
I like that saying. It took a while to grow me, but when you actually think about it,
man, it's a great message, bro. And that guy, he was another one. I was in 2011. I was the biggest fucking Zack Ryder fan, and now that I can I don't know if I could call him my friend, maybe not, but I work with the guy and I get to talk to him, and he's always been a big inspiration,
Yeah.
It's just like he's just like us, man. He's an underdog, and that's what I do this for. I do this for the little guy. I do this for the people that were told they weren't good enough, the people that told that they weren't able to make it, or that, you know what I mean? That's what I do it for.
Just still continuing it, be persistent. I mean, I think podcasts not necessarily the same as wrestler, but I think it's the 81st 8-second episode, and I just keep at it, and I try to be different from everyone as well. I mean, I don't want to actually do my research for starters. You would be like a certain podcasters, I won't say the names, but they'll literally read the Wikipedia out and then just say it as along talking to you, which is a bit weird. It's just lazy.
You definitely did it. You did it the right way, man. You came in with the right energy, and it was an awesome interview on my end.
Yeah, no, man, I proper enjoyed it, man. And for us to do this, I think we kind of got this sorted in the last 2 days or something. But for it to happen, someone that has been keeping an eye on you, I think I actually discovered you during the pandemic as well. So and I'm really glad that I did, and I've actually got to talk to you on this platform, and I think it's been a really good episode, and I think the listeners will be able to feel it as well. It's a good vibe and good connection as well. I want to thank you, J George, for coming on. I'm looking forward to seeing your trailer that comes up very soon. And there's going to be more trailers that we will see on your social media, which I will put in the description below. If you can, listeners, watchers, please subscribe, like, share. Just do what you can to support this channel. to help it grow, so I can get more guests like J George on this show and to entertain you guys and more. There is actually going to be more episodes of What Do You Call It podcast coming up very soon. But for now, everyone, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I tried to incorporate the film stuff, but yeah.
Love it.
Take care, everyone.
Please.
Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
Hey, this is Vita Von Star, and you're watching What Do You Call It podcast.
You heard.
The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.